Hi everyone, welcome to our Clinked Onboarding and Refresher webinar. So this is a new format of webinar which we're going to be doing once a month to give us a chance to welcome on board our new clients joining, and also a good opportunity if any of you have new team members coming on board and you want them to get trained up on Clinked as well. This is a good place for them to be able to do that. So let's get started. So first, just to introduce the team on this call today, we have myself, Anna, and also my colleague, Sarah. We also have Candice, who is running things for us behind the scenes today. And then on our agenda for today, we'll be going through some of the key components just to structure structure your Clinked account, and then also some of the key benefits of using Clinked. I'll then be passing over to Sarah, who will take you through a live Clinked demonstration, and she'll go through setting up the Clinked account, as well as groups, members, branding, and some of the content as well. So after that, we'll do a Q&A session. So just to remind everyone, there is a Q&A box which you can pop questions into throughout the webinar, and we will answer those at the end of this session. And then to finish off, we'll just show you some different resources that are available to you as well. So before we kick off, we just have a question that we'd like you to answer. So this should pop up on your screen and you can select as many options as apply to you. So what brought you to this Clinked webinar today? Was it for onboarding training, a refresh, or is there a particular component that you're interested in seeing? So yeah, we're interested to see what everyone says for this, as that will help us tailor these sessions for you in the future as well.
I'm personally very curious to see.
Great, so looks like majority are here for either onboarding training or a refresh from an earlier session, and then a few also interested in the individual components as well. So that's great, thank you guys. So to start off with, we are just going to take it back to basics, and go through the sort of main components that build up the structure of your Clinked portal. So these will also come in handy when I pass over to Sarah and she takes you through the live demonstration, as this is terminology that we use quite a bit. So first of all, you have your groups. These are really the main foundation of your portal. So for a lot of people, this will be your clients, but it's not limited to that. So it can also be either partners or different projects, depending on how you're using Clinked. So inside your groups, you'll then have members, which are users that have been invited to the portal, either internal colleagues or external clients who you will be collaborating with. All members then need to be assigned different access permissions. So the three main ones are admin, create content, or view only. Sarah will again take you through the other options as well. So then we have the dashboard. The dashboard is sort of your personal overview area. So this has a activity feed of everything going on across the portal as a whole, also across all of your groups. This isn't seen by your clients, it's just personal to you. You then have the group homepage, which is sort of the main area for your clients. So that's what they'll see when they log in to the portal. And we recommend you use this to sort of welcome them and explain a bit about what they should expect from the portal. And then the rest of what makes up your portal is the other content functionalities. So you have files, notes, tasks, events, and discussions. So next we're just going to recap the key benefits of Clinked. So what you should see as a result of using Clinked with your clients. So what it does is creates a digital experience for you to interact with your clients. as a result, this improves communication and helps you build trust within those client relationships. Clinked is also available on mobile and is remote working friendly, which, as we all know, is important at the moment and a great benefit. It's also highly secure, so we have bank grade level security, which means there's no concerns around what kind of data you're uploading to the portal. And most importantly, it is easy to set up, customize, and use. So not only is it easy for you to set up, but it's also easy for your clients to get used to using as well. So then, to areas of focus for today's session. In a moment, I will pass you over to Sarah, who's going to take you through a live demonstration inside Clinked on how to set up and manage your account and account settings, as well as groups and group settings. And then also members and different permissions, as we mentioned earlier. Then we'll also show you the branding side of the portal, as well as touching on some of the different areas of content as well. So just before I hand over to Sarah, we have another question, which is, at the moment, how often are you using Clinked today? So just choose one answer on the screen. Okay, interesting. So a lot of people are using Clinked every day, which is just what we want to see. Others slightly less often. So yeah, hopefully you can start using it a bit more after today's session. And that leads on to the live demonstrations. So over to you, Sarah.
Great. Thanks so much, Anna. I appreciate it. So what we're doing right now, as you can see, I am actually in Clinked. At the moment, we're going to take you through a live demo of an account that we call ButtX Clients. So just like all of you, ButtX Client would be using a Clinked account. It's been branded for ButtX Client. And what I've done is I've actually logged in as Amanda. Amanda here is actually an account admin. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the settings of your Clinked account. So as an account admin, if that is your current role within the team, you would have a view similar to Amanda. What does that mean? Well, when Amanda logs in to her Clinked account, so with ButtX, she actually lands here at the dashboard. This dashboard is what she's seeing because she's a member of multiple groups, and also because she's an account admin, she has some additional feature areas or settings that are up here that we're going to actually talk through. So Amanda, because she has access to this dashboard and is an account admin, has the rights to actually edit this dashboard. She does that just by coming here to the top right. So where you hit edit widgets, this actually unlocks a way to be able to change the layout of what's actually being seen on the screen, or to actually move around these widgets in different locations. So say I want announcements to actually be on top of the activity stream, she can do that. Or if you wanted to, she can also add new widgets that are up there as well. So as an account admin, you have the rights to be able to do that on the dashboard. Those changes will actually be seen by any other member of your Clinked account who is a member of multiple groups or also has access to this dashboard area as, say, another account admin or as a group admin. In addition to that, Amanda's able to use all of these widgets as a way to be able to quickly access content into the groups that she's a member of. That would be similar for other people who have the ability to access this dashboard area. Also on the left here, she's able to access a quick tool to be able to access any of the groups that are part of her account. And she can see all the different groups that are part of that account, regardless if she's a member of account or not, because she is, as I said before, an account admin. In addition to that, Amanda has access to this area here. This is actually the list of all of the groups. In this case, it's actually been renamed from groups to clients. So on your side, it might say groups, but I'll take you through the naming conventions in a moment where you can actually access that. She also has access to the group member area, to the account member area, which we'll go into in a moment, and then also the reach out tool, which is a great functionality that we'll go through. Before we get into there, I really want to go into the account settings. So how could you set up your Clinked account and what are the things that you need to consider when actually doing so as an account admin. So if you were to navigate here to the right where we've got Amanda's name, if you come to account settings, this is something that will only be shown for account admins. Anyone who is just a group admin or a member of a group would not have access to this area. You can click into account admins or account settings, and this is going to take you into your account settings for the system itself. Really here to begin with, it's general. So it's about naming your account, changing the URL if you want to. You can also change the language, the default language for your overall account as well. Individuals can change their own personal account preference as well in their personal settings, but you as an account admin have the rights to be able to change that. We do offer 17 different languages, all of which you can actually find in an article on our help center. And then in addition to that, you've got multiple different choices here to be able to use for the account level side of things. We're going to go through two in particular now. We're going to go through branding and we're going to go through naming. So the branding side of the account settings is actually where you do all of your visual branding. So let's say it's actually adding a logo, which you'll have in the top left corner to be able to feature your brand. Clinked is a white label product, so therefore you have this functionality to be able to make these changes from an appearance perspective. In addition, you can add a favicon if you want to. So in the top left corner, it would have a different logo other than the Clinked logo that's up there. And then in addition, you can add the upload of background as well. So you can see that on the top here. There are a couple other features as well if you want to be able to explore that. And then on the naming side of things, I mentioned to you a moment ago, this area here, which is called clients on the BudX account, is actually within Clinked known as an element called groups. Now you can see here that naming has actually been written over. So if I wanted to, I could actually just remove that, and that will actually take the setup back to actually show it as groups. And I'll just update that real quick. So now you can see on the top that element has actually been renamed to groups. So you can come into the naming area, go through any of the elements that are listed here. So that's groups. Then the feature area within the group. So notes, files, events, tasks, discussions. You can change all of those at the account level. And you can also rename your members. So say they're students, or they might be, you might have different naming conventions that you do. You might want to call them customers. You might want to call them clients. Up to you as you want to do it, but this is where you would actually change that. So let's navigate back to the dashboard. A few other features that an account admin has access to, as I mentioned before, are both members and reach out. Reach out is a great tool that account admins can use to be able to communicate across a wider group of people as opposed to just one group at a time. So let's just say you had a summer party that was coming up. I know it's a bit difficult these days because many of us can't meet together, but we'll just use that as an example. So in the past, we've actually sent out a Clinked summer party invitation using this account. And in that, what it is it sends an email to a group of people, all of which are the members of those accounts. So you can create the content of the email. You can add any links if you want to and add attachments. And then you choose the groups. You can always see the list of who are the recipients who received it and then what was the attachment as well. So we have a really great article in our help center for you to be able to actually look and explore that a bit more in the future. Next up is members. This area here at the top, as I mentioned before, for account admins, they have access to the account member level. So that's all the members of any group within your account. Within here, as you can see here, we've got the members. We list out the existing members, any pending invitations that might be out there for either a group or an account level member. And then also if there's been any guest shares as well, you can see that full detail all under each of the additional tabs. Now, from an existing member perspective, you can always invite members directly from here. There's a few different ways to be able to do that at the account level. We have great articles on that, so I'm not going to go into that today, but we will point you to the resources section and where you can find those articles a bit later on. One of the things I did want to flag is that on the members level, there are really 4 key members. There's the account admin, which are named super admins. There are individuals who can create groups. Generally, those are group admins. So that can create group is actually something that's set up for an account level permission. And then there are other individuals who are going to be members of, they might be an admin of a group. They could be a content creator inside of the group and a read-only member as well, and we'll look at that a bit more detailed. Other things that you can do here, you can always search for someone. So you can do it by, say, name, or you can do it just by typing in here. I'm going to actually navigate to one of the team members, who is Sam Jones. Sam is actually a member of ButtX. Sam is an internal team member as well with Amanda. So the two of them both work at ButtX. And so Sam actually does have some admin rights at the account level. He can actually create groups. So what that means is he can actually create a group, and then he can set up that group and then invite people into it. But he's not a super admin, so he cannot see all of these different components that Amanda can see. Also, Amanda has set him up so he's a member of one group at the moment, and he is actually a group admin. So that's what you can see here under groups. Now, what I want to do is actually show a really great tool that a lot of our clients get a lot of use out of, and that is for an account admin, you have the ability to log in as other members, particularly or for at other members, so that you can log in and see what their experience will be like when they log into the portal. So you can actually double check to make sure everything you set up is as you want it to be. In this case, because Sam is a group admin, you can actually do that. If Sam was an account admin, you wouldn't have this right. So just to flag that up for all of you. Now, to be able to log in as Sam, all you have to do is, as we find his information, we go to his profile. In the top right corner, you go to the cog or the sprocket here, hit the drop down and hit login as Sam. When I do that, you will now see we've come to the dashboard that is Sam's. And I'm just going to hide the chat real quick. So Sam, we're now logged in as Sam. If I wanted to log out as Sam, I could as well. I can always come to sign out as Sam. But I'm logged in as Sam, and now I'm seeing what Sam's experience is. Because Sam's a group admin, he does actually log into the dashboard. But if you notice here, if we go across, there's no reach out, there's no member area. And also if we do the drop down for Sam, there's no account settings. So Sam is not an account admin, but this is his view when he logs in. Now, if Sam was a group member of Willow Bend Investments, we'll see what that login would be like. So when Sam would log in as only a member of a group, he would just land directly onto this homepage. So this homepage is the group's homepage. So it's a group homepage for Willow Bend Investments. And so Sam, as a group admin, has some views that other group members might not have. Some of those include settings, which we're going to go through in a moment. Also, edit widgets. This edit widget functionality is similar to the dashboard that we talked about earlier. So if Sam was to click onto here, he is able to actually change the layouts if he wanted to, and you could also add new widgets if you wanted to as well. All of these widgets are actually based upon content that's in the group. So before you add a widget, you do need to make sure that you've created the content. And just as a reminder, all of the content types are files, notes, discussions, events, and tasks. And so if we were to go to edit widget, you can actually find all of the different types of content. So if I wanted to say add a new note, I could do that. And then I can just find the note that I was looking for. So let's just say it was summer party. If I wanted to add that in here, we've got a couple ones, and I know I want to look at the actual form. So I configure it, and then it's automatically comes in, and then I can move it across wherever I want to. And I can commit it so that it's there for someone who's a group member to be able to come in and fill out that information. Again, I can always come back out and delete it at some point in time as well. So that is the group home. I'm going to take that area itself is really great for us to flag up. We always talk about this in onboarding. We've done a series of webinars, articles, and blog posts recently that have to do with designing a digital client experience. This group home is really your opportunity to be able to design that experience for your clients. So we really recommend that you use this space as much as you can to be able to personalize the view that you want your group members to be seeing, whether they're a client like Willow Bend Investments, or if it's an internal team, say a marketing team that you're working with, and you want to give the purpose of that session and then bring in the highlighted content that you want by using the widgets. So with that, we're going to go into settings. So these are group settings. Within this is similar to account settings, but this is at the group level. So it's a way for the group admin to be able to control how the group itself is working together and what information they're seeing. So in here, you've got the group settings. You can change the name. You can change the URL. Say you've had a name in the past, you might need to be able to go in here and actually edit this so that it's slightly different if the namings don't match up. In addition to that, you have the option to actually make an existing group a subgroup. And there's a very good article as well as a few webinars that we've done on this topic. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. But what it means to be a subgroup is this group itself could be a subgroup, meaning that the content of a main group could be shared down. So that's files, notes, discussions, events, tasks. If this was set up as a subgroup of a main group, the main group's content could be going down into that subgroup. Vice versa, this could be a main group that then is associated to other subgroups. So the content that's put in here could be shared down to those subgroups. But again, please go to our help center and you'll be able to find all of that information as well as our YouTube channel for the webinars. In addition to that, this is where you can do the appearance of the branding, any kind of visuals you want to change in terms of the text. And also within here, you can change to see what what tools do I want. This group discussions might not be something that's utilized. So you can just take that away and remove it from the equation. If you hit update, you'll actually see that it's now taken away from the tool sides here on the left. So we'll just leave that off for the moment. In addition to that, you can control notifications. So these are the email notifications that are being received by the members of the group as well. This is where you're actually setting the entire the group members experience when it comes to notifications. So as a group admin, you're going to set that up for your members. And then in addition to that, you've got, within notifications, just to note, we've had a lot of questions that have come across from our clients on that. So we do have a webinar about notifications, as well as some great articles as well to be able to help you configure the experience that you want your clients to have in that side of things. Lastly, we have advanced settings. This is where at the group level, if you wanted to be able to disable someone's ability to make comments in any of the different types of content types, you could do that. You can also make it a restricted group, and we've got a tool tip here to be able to give you some more information about that. And then you've got disable chat. So that would be if you want chat not to be available for this group, you can always disable that as well. So that is the group settings area. I do want to go through a few things. Creating a group is not something we're going to go through at the moment. We do actually have the ability to be able to offer you resources there. So there are articles to be able to help with how to create groups, but that group setting area is where, really you're going to, once you create the group, be able to actually go through and do some more. So please make sure that you go to our articles to be able to read those or our webinars. There's two other components I want to go into before we get into the Q&A. First of which is just members. So from a group member perspective, the account admin as well as all group members will always be able to come in here, unless it's a restricted group, to be able to look to see who are the members of this group. Also to be able to potentially change anything. So earlier we were in with Amanda. If I wanted to say, make Amanda just a read-only member, I could do that and then just hit update. So what did I do there? If these are two boxes that do not need to be checked. If they are not checked, then the member is a read-only member of the group. That means they can't add content, but they can read everything that's there unless you permission them not to be able to. If they can create content, then that means they can add content in and they can make changes to that content, which is in, say, files, notes, events, or tasks. You can also check off the second box, which is to make them an administrator. So since we were talking about permissions, I'm just going to go into one of the tool areas. So we're going to go to files. And I just want to make sure that you all know what permissions are. So permissions are really around content. So in this case, if we were kind of come into files and I wanted to actually permission a folder so that only certain people could see that folder, let's say half-year reviews. I know half-year reviews is not something I want the entire team to be able to see. So I come here to this padlock. And this would be similar if you're going into the file itself or any of the different tool areas. You can always find the permission area looking for that lock, which is, or the icon that is the lock. When you click on that, you'll have this window that pops up and you'll be able to actually look at the shared with. So do I want to share it with all group members or do I want to actually restrict who has access to it? And when I restrict it, I can actually use this add from group member list. In this case, we don't actually have any members to be able to add. So I might have chose the wrong group for that. But let's just say I wanted to change it so that group members could view, but they can't edit and delete, which is currently what the option is. So I would just update that. So all group members can view, but they can't update, edit, or delete. And I update that. So then I know in the future they can't access it. that's the same. Permissions are going to be the exact same in other tool types. So you'll be able to use that for whatever you need. And with that, that's really what we wanted to go over with the initial live screening for you or onboarding. So hopefully that helped. And with that, I think we can go into Q&A. So Candice, I'll hand it over to you to get the ball rolling there.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Anna, for the insightful webinar. We do have one question that came in already from Claire. And for everyone, as a reminder, you can ask your questions within the chat, or if you go at the bottom of your screen, you can raise your hand to ask your question live, and also open the Q&A and ask your question there as well, so the team can respond to it during this webinar. So the first question that came from Claire was around account admin, and she is asking if you can set up more than one account admin per account.
Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely, you can. So what we always advise for our clients is that you have at least one person who's the account admin, but you likely have two other individuals who would actually be the account admins. The reason for that is if one account admin goes on holiday, you want to be able to make sure that they're able, or is on vacation, you want to make sure that they're able to, someone's still able to go into the system if it's needed to be able to make any changes. Also, if you want to be able to use a reach out functionality for, say, something that's happened with the pandemic, or maybe there's a closure within your local community, and you need to be able to let your clients know the reach out functionality is only available for account admins, as well as, changing of, say, account wide announcements, then you do want to make sure you have a couple people who are account admins. So yeah, that was a really good question, and it's definitely something that we recommend for everybody to have at least two, potentially three people as the account admins there.
Thank you, Sarah. Hopefully, Claire, that answered your question. We just got another question from Tobin, who is asking, is there a way to allow permissions to only post in a particular area, like in notes, but no other content?
Anna, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So each piece of content within the portal does actually have its own individual permissions. So that means although someone can have a general permission for the overall group, you can also select an individual permission for each piece of content as well. So as Sarah was demonstrating on the files, you can also do that with a note as well. So if you wanted a particular note to only be viewed by certain group members, there is a way to do that.
And here I'll navigate into notes right now. So we'll go into, say, we've got the summer party RSVP. Actually, that's probably, well, yeah, we can do that. So here down below, if you go to the individual piece of content itself, as Anna was saying, so in this case, we're coming to the RSVP. If you come to the bottom where you've got the different collaboration functionalities down below, on the far right, there's permissions. And then in permissions, this is where you can, similar to the files we were talking about before, you could say select it so nobody's actually showing it, and you can add a specific member. And as I said before, this isn't exactly the best the best one for that. But yes, it would be group members here, and then you can choose how they can actually work on the note itself. You can do the same thing if you are in, say, an event. Let's see, do I have an event to be able to play with, or a task? I will do it with a task. So if I was to go into the task itself, as you're actually working in the task, you can, in tasks is slightly different. It's always going to be dependent upon the invitees. So this is where it's going to be slightly different. It's always going to be based upon assign a group member. So if you've assigned a group member, what you can do is actually say who it is that you're assigning it to. And then the choice is that it's only viewable by those members themselves.
Thank you both, and hopefully, Tobin, this responded to your question. We have one last question, and maybe we can wrap up after that because we are short on time. We had a question from David, who was asking, you showed us how to go from an account admin to a group admin. Is there a way to do the same thing with going from an account admin to a member view?
Yeah, of course. So if you, I'm going to sign out as Sam. And so what I did, if I come to members, And I say go to Evelyn, let's just say. So Evelyn Sabato, she is a member of the Willow Bend group and is a content contributor. I can come, because she is not an account admin, I can actually still access the login as Evelyn. And when I do that, you navigate over, you can see I'm logged in as Evelyn, and it's a slightly different view than Sam because you don't have access to the settings. So Evelyn is set up here to be able to add content and to be able to participate in various ways. So hopefully that helped answer your question. Great. Okay. Well, with that, Anna, do you want to take us back into going through the resources? This is actually a good opportunity to be able to highlight the resources you all have access to as Clinked members.
Yeah, for sure. So just before we do that, we've got one final question for you all. So after this session, which areas do you now feel more confident in out of all the areas that we've sort of covered? So if you could just select as many options as you like. Hopefully it'll be great for people to be feeling more confident in all areas. But yeah, this will help us to improve these sessions for you moving forward as well. Okay, so yeah, we've got some results in. It looks like everyone is feeling more confident all round, but particularly on the account and group setup, as that is sort of what we focused on, so that's great. And then just to close off, we're going to show you through the different resources we have. So you can access our Help and Learning Centre from inside of your portal just here by going to your name and then selecting help from the drop down. So some people actually switch this option off if you don't want your clients to be able to see the Clinked Learning Centre. So we also have one on our website, which is available underneath resources. So there's lots of different articles available there on tutorials on different features throughout the portal. As you can see, this is where Candice has been posting articles from as well, down below. So as well as that, we post all of our webinars onto our YouTube channel. So they will all be posted up there, including this one, for you to view in case you missed them. And then finally, if anybody has any questions that we didn't manage to answer on the Q&A, or just any technical questions or issues that you're experiencing, please do get in touch with our support team by emailing them at support@clinked.com, and they will be able to help you. So that is all from us today. I hope this webinar was helpful, and yeah, hope everyone has a great day.